Do you have any questions before you do anything dumb?
We're rolling. Dice. Camera.
Action!
Welcome to the next episode of the BBEG Podcast, which of course stands for Big Bad Evil Giraffe. That's one for the visual listeners. We're sticking with that phrase. We've coined it. No one else can use it. I'm Will.
I'm Em. And I'm Hattie. I'm fairly sure that's not how it works, but okay.
No. I'm pretty sure one of the Kardashians wanted to trademark a word or something. So I'm pretty sure if we say it, now they have to pay us for it.
RuPaul trademarks everything. That doesn't mean it happens.
Anyway, what are we doing this session?
Today we're going to be talking about Session 0, and there's a lot of different definitions of a Session 0, and we're going to be exploring them all. But most importantly, Em, where's our map from today?
Our map today is brought to us by Beg, Borrow and Steal Productions. More on that later.
Right, so Session 0, what are our collective understandings of Session 0? What do you think it should be, primarily? And we'll dig in a little deeper in a second.
I mean, it's a mixture of things, isn't it? Especially if you're a new player. It's covering the groundwork and making sure that they have a basic understanding of what is needed from their character sheet, from them as a person, as a player.
So you talk about from the perspective of if they are brand new players, what to expect.
Yeah.
I mean, that's another thing we didn't really talk about pre-recording was veteran players and new players, how it would differ. Oh, we have another talking point.
I mean, I think really a Session 0 between new and veterans doesn't change all that much, apart from the fact that the veterans, or even someone who's playing for the second time, or second campaign, should I say, already has the basic fundamentals, so you might be able to go through things that bit quicker. But every campaign is different and every DM is different, so you don't know what mechanics they have changed for this game. PHB is a guidebook, doesn't mean all those rules in that book are fact.
Also, the boundaries for each player, depending on when if your campaign runs. Campaign runs.
I'm the ill one.
Words today. It's just not us. If your campaign is run for a very long period of time and then you have a break, starting again means that anything can happen in life, as we all know.
Yeah, that little hiatus.
Yeah, which means that in that Session 0, you're gonna have to cover if you've forgotten rules or if you're not comfortable with certain things, then that's also something that even if you're a veteran, you're going to have to come at with a new perspective.
And I love the covering of topics and I keep saying genres, but I know that's not the right word, but obviously each new campaign, also it might not be your first campaign, it could be your first time with that group.
Yes.
So you don't know how they work, you don't know how that DM works. Or you're someone who goes, I don't have the time to DM, so you hire a professional DM.
Yeah.
Hugh is on a strict time schedule.
Yeah.
You only have them for 3 hours, so you've got to know what you're walking into.
Get that coin, honey.
Yeah.
Would any of you ever do that? I know you haven't DM'd, but would you ever consider being a paid DM? This is a whole different kind of thing.
I don't know. I enjoy DMing. Okay. This is the first campaign that I've really enjoyed DMing, the one that I do with you guys.
Yes.
I think
doing something right.
Just say it on record! Yes!
Doing something right, that's a questionable statement.
We're doing something.
But the first campaign I ever did, I hated. As in DM'd. I didn't enjoy it, but
Stressful.
I didn't enjoy the storyline.
Okay.
The second one I did, which you joined partway through, I felt like I found my footing a bit more, and then I think this one, because you guys were all so new or hadn't played it in 10 years or so.
Also gorgeous and funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. It also allowed me to sort of refine my basics, because no DM has it down.
Yeah.
Well, unless you're, Brennan or Matt Mercer.
Yeah,
you know,
Yeah.
But they have
Praise
been
be to the
doing
gods.
but
For
that's
years
their
and
job.
years and years.
Yeah.
They.
But that's what they do.
Yeah.
And their session zeros again are very similar to the
Yeah.
ones that you
'Cause
do or
what's
that you
the-
go to anyway.
The new the Candle Obscura, the one
Yeah.
they started a few weeks ago, that's going to be a different session 0 to the
Yeah.
D&D session 0.
Yeah, because that's the one that they've made, like as
Yes.
in their
Yeah.
game system. It actually looks really cool. That's a different talk.
Right down.
Um,
Right, for later.
Basically, the point to that is, for new players, I'd consider it. Because I think that's what I'm better at. I think I'm really good at introducing people to the game.
Yes.
As Kelly keeps saying, stop bringing people into your cult.
But you have.
Yeah.
We have a
And we willingly
friendship.
joined.
Yeah, we have a friendship group. The majority of
Yeah.
us now hang out on a Thursday to play D, and that is our.
I got the boys on Rock On to do
Yes.
it when we're on ship, and I've already got the Disco Inferno lot that
Yes.
I went out with on Tuesday to be like, yeah, we're up for it.
There we go.
And collecting people. But yeah, professionally, I'd consider it for newer players.
You know,
Yeah,
get the bag. Secure the bag.
yeah.
But then, going back to the point of this
Yes,
episode. So obviously,
What a tangent!
when obviously you knew us, you've known us for a couple of years now.
Yeah, unfortunately,
So-
yeah.
So, just to be fair, we never really hung out like in person. I think D&D has brought us together.
Yeah,
So you wouldn't know what my red flags are, what I'm not comfortable with. So I'm comfortable with anything.
I mean, everyone in the game's red flag is Hattie, that's obvious.
Right there.
What more can a girl do?
But yeah, no, exactly. And I said it earlier, it's like, it's the one thing I didn't really do with you guys as a group was go, what don't you like? What's your red flags? But I think I learned in the first session or two just from some reactions of no one has anything major because
No.
we all come from a creative background.
Yes.
I think that made it easier. Everyone in our campaign either has a background in performing
Yeah.
or
Something in the
media
arts,
and
yeah.
all that stuff. So we're very exposed to all the elements that you can be ever thrown
3
at
years
you.
worth of bullying at drama school.
Yeah, emotional recall, not the one. Not the one.
You ever do Meisner?
Yeah.
Oh, I hate Meisner. Anyway,
media student in the room.
I think I escaped that by whatever is happening over here.
Trauma.
Hattie, you are wearing a black top.
Yes.
No, Hattie, you are wearing a black top.
For those of you who are watching, it's very weird, but you're not missing.
No,
anything
this
if
is
you're
Meisner.
listening.
I didn't get it either.
Okay.
I got really annoyed, and my drama teacher told me, no, well, you're actually just forcing that reaction. I'm like, no, this is a real reaction, because I hate this.
Yeah.
But
People are going to be popping off in the comments about it. It's going to be very polarising.
What's your issue with Meisner? Let me tell you.
the Venn diagram of D&D and actors.
Oh no.
When my drama school teacher comes back and like, I'm going to revoke that degree.
Too late. You've already got it.
But then, yeah, like I say, we're all creative, so we all
Yeah.
experience different things through plays, through songs,
Yeah.
through having to act out different scenarios.
Yeah.
So
So-
we're comfortable with a lot of stuff.
So I think that kind of gave me the scope of, go with it. Also, yes, like you said, one-to-one time, I mean, you hadn't really hung out in that sense compared to some of the others.
Yeah.
Like, we got on like a house on fire straight
Yeah.
away.
But also it meant that because we hang out and we are friends,
Yeah.
if there is a red flag anywhere for any one of us,
Yep.
you already know our personal lives and what's
Yeah.
happening. So you know that maybe
Yeah.
we don't do that topic because
Yeah.
someone's actually dealing with that in real life. Or
Yep.
Yeah.
maybe we actually do that topic because they would really enjoy the kind
Yeah.
of therapeutic aspect of that.
That's another
Yeah.
thing, yeah, of course, didn't even think about that. Yeah.
Yeah, and so kind of gauging reactions. But typically, I would say to people, does anyone have an issue with this sort of topic,
Yeah.
or if I brought this into the storyline? Now, to be fair, with this campaign that we're doing, because I've made the campaign based around your backstories, I kind of got a sense of what's all right and not all right, because you wrote your backstories yourself. However,
Yeah.
6 individual backstories.
Yes.
You can't please
Just-
everyone, you can't make sure everything is safe all the time.
Yeah, and just because one person's backstory is maybe a bit more on the edge and a bit more gory and whatnot, doesn't mean the other person's alright with that.
No.
No.
So it's tailoring it around what works. I think the best way I did that in a game with you guys was the Vision Quest.
Yes.
Where I
Yeah.
got to take
Such
you
a good
through
session.
your sort of backstories in a way that you hadn't seen it before, and maybe especially for your character, you'd learn some new stuff.
I learned everything about my character.
Yeah, but like
I'm going to write my backstory again.
Yeah, pretty much. That's what inspired it. Where I was like, okay.
Yeah. But yeah, like Emily, that session had already mentioned that she was feeling a bit of a type of way. And I was like, oh, okay, Vision Quest, and I'm about to bring up your backstory where you are going to see your mother die. Well, she didn't see her die, but saw like her father cradling her in this vision, and like the impact that it had on her whole town. So, but even Emily was like, that was good. Like she really enjoyed it, and it allowed her to escape whatever was going on out of her life that day. But also allowed her to connect. And I do think it's weird. It might be a role-playing game, but I do think you can deal with a lot of emotions.
Oh yeah.
Do you guys watch the IT Crowd?
Mm-hmm.
I used to, yeah.
Do you remember the episode where they play D&D with like it's like a Godfather parody.
Yeah.
But Roy broke up with his girlfriend.
Yes.
And Moss started acting it out, and like Roy starts crying. He's like, and at the end of the session, he's like, "Thank you. That's what I needed."
Yeah.
He's like, some people just need it. It's 2 hours worth of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's kind of good that, like, even if, because obviously we speak to each other before the session, we all hang out and then we play the session, so you already gauge where we're at, and like if we've had a bad day at work, killing monsters, absolutely wonderful therapy. But if we're coming out of or having a bit of a, we're having, something's going on in our lives that is beyond our control and we're struggling with it, then maybe don't. But if you're going to a paid D&D session somewhere else where you are joining a bunch of strangers, I like the idea of like having, you're not quite as comfortable being like, that's not where I'm at right now. So there are different ways in the session 0 that the DM will point out if you're ever uncomfortable.
Yes, the cards.
There's cards. There's
like a tick list thing that you can do at the beginning of a campaign where you list all sort of topics or subjects that could ever come up in a game. And that's not saying you've got them at the ready, but it's just saying, are you alright with gore? Are you alright with like in-depth descriptions about blood or bones, like you said? Whenever I do a description on like a bone cracking or whatnot, you're a bit like, but it's not so much.
No, it's just,
I just know I can't go into, I do enough detail that everyone gets the point, but I'm not going...
we want to revisit or dinner. Like it's not.
I'm not taking it far to the point where you're looking at me going, I've already told you this. Let's not. And that could be sensitive topics. You know, you don't know someone's life. Doing just as a hypothetical, you could have someone in the game who is recovering from something in their life, be it a traumatic event, or even something as, alcohol or something like that.
We said my pet died.
Yes.
It's like, just that affects people in different ways.
And having that in the game, be it long term or just for an episode, so you could put that into things like, I have in the past dealt with issues of, I'm just going to use alcoholism as an example, and you go, I don't really want to visit issues of alcoholism during this game because it's already on you to a personal level. You might be able to relate, but you might not want to.
For me, and
I'm
struggling with addiction, and therefore, can we avoid like gambling or something?
I am sure they won't mind us. I'm not going to name names, but in our campaign at the minute, we do have one of our Muslim friends who strictly does not drink. So his character also doesn't drink. So if you go to a tavern, he's like, I'm sticking to water because I don't feel comfortable. Even my D&D character do that. I'm like, props, do it. That's fine. So there's also ways around it in the game if you really like, actually, I don't even want to use role play to see what it's like. I think that's a very strong person to do that. I appreciate that. Another thing worth saying for session 0s is if you're playing with a paid DM or known DM and it's start of a new campaign, homebrew rules. That is something that people have different ideas about, and you might not always agree, but if the DM's saying, this is how I play, that is the player's chance to be like, can we tweak, or is that dead set? Because I always play, ones is ones. You don't get modifiers, unless it's initiative order, skill checks, attacks, whatever. Ones is ones.
And that one isn't that one.
Nat 1, no modifiers.
Okay, rather
As in,
than
if you roll a nat 1,
Sorry,
you're not going to
yes.
add your modifier on to be like, I actually got a 6. No, you rolled a nat 1.
Yeah, there was a 1
suffer
in
the
20
damn
chance
consequence.
I was about to swear. I forget. Can we swear? It's been
Yeah,
2 weeks.
we've already done
I did it
this.
the other week, so my parents are going to be thrilled.
You got a 1k, you fucked it. Yeah. So.
And it's the same with, it's a rule that I do, and we've not really had the chance to explore it in our game properly, but I did it with you in the last one. When it comes to death saves,
Oh yes, yeah.
I roll your saves,
Yep.
you guys don't. And that's what I do because I learnt it from Tyler. I learned so much from him.
We're gonna have to get Tyler on.
I hope you're happy that I'm shouting you out.
Yeah.
He also shouts into the mic.
But
That's
he
peace
is.
there.
But he is such a creative person, so I absolutely love it when he's DMing.
Yeah.
And obviously that doesn't mean he was the first one to
No.
use that, but he just brought it to a game and I went, that's really good, because it makes a good point. In a normal death save situation, you roll your own and you go, oh yeah, no, I'm fine. There's no urgency.
Yeah.
Whereas if the DM is doing it and you don't know what the outcome
sat there
is,
sweating.
you've got
Yeah.
3 turns going, I don't know if I'm dead or alive.
Would you do those rolls in the open or behind the
Oh no,
screen?
behind.
Behind the screen. Go.
I don't tell you guys what you're getting.
It
That's
is.
the point, because it adds the agency. Because in
That's
real
scary,
life,
man.
if you think of it in real life,
Yeah.
and someone got stabbed and they're on the ground,
Yeah.
and you're in a fight situation because the people are still there, and they're bleeding out, do you try and fend off these people?
Yeah.
Or do one of you try and stabilise that person in the moment?
Yep.
Or are you looking at them going, no, you look alright, we can handle this, you can stay there and bleed whilst we fend off these
Yeah.
people?
Yeah.
But in a battle, you don't have time to be like, let me just check your pulse.
Yeah.
Let me make sure that you have like
Yeah.
vital signs.
You have
Hold
to
up a
think.
mirror to make sure you're breathing. No, you're in
Yeah.
the middle of a battle. So it is possibly the most stressful
Yeah.
thing I've ever witnessed is when a character or you yourself
Yeah.
go,
Yep.
you've just wiped out all of my you've just wiped out
Yeah.
all of my HP, and
I'm in death
I'm in
saves.
death
Yeah.
saves, and you have no control over. That's it. You just basically hand your life over to the DM, and you look at your teammates,
Yeah.
and you're like, it's in your hands now, boys. And you just let it be.
Yeah.
Because then at the end, either the DM goes, I'm so sorry, but you're not returning. Or, and you never want to hear those words. Like,
Hey,
ever.
Yeah.
do you want to take these 4d6s and just go in the other room quickly?
Yeah. You're going to need to roll another character. We'll leave you
Starts
to it.
ripping up their character sheet in front of them.
Oh.
You're done.
No!
Get some paper shredder.
Imagine if that, you get like the first failed death save, and you just rip a little bit off the character. On the second one, you little bit more.
I think I'll do that anyway.
Yeah.
Because you guys don't know what I'm rolling.
Yeah. It could be our character
Yeah.
sheet, it could be the NPCs, it could be anyone, but because you don't have, it's so, to watch all the turns go round knowing that yours is next.
And you're like,
you
somebody come to me just in case, please.
have a health potion!
Because it is a 50-50 chance.
Mhm.
All
Yep.
you need is 1 good death save
Yeah.
out of the 3
Yeah.
to be fine.
Oh, homebrew rule for death saves as well. Some people play a nat 1 is double fail,
Yeah.
but nat 20 is double success. So you get 2
Oh.
marks for a nat 1 or nat 20.
Yeah.
Oh god. No.
So imagine if it's a nat 1, M rolls you a nat 1, and you go, cool, right, and then next death save goes, you're dead.
Yeah.
And you go, what? It's like, first one's a nat 1, you only needed another one.
Yeah.
But you don't normally say until the end of the battle anyway, because there's nothing we can do about it.
No.
So it's a case of you'll keep it to yourself, and we won't know when we died. We don't know if it's the first, second,
Yeah.
however it happened. We just know that we're no longer playing.
Yeah.
Imagine if one of the player characters goes, okay, right, I have time, right, I run over, I disengage action, then use main action to do health potion.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And you go,
Healing
it doesn't work. What?
Yeah, health potion has to be on something.
Oh,
that's
but I did
alive.
that.
Oh my god, yeah.
In our
Crazy.
to be
I
fair,
about that, yeah.
to be fair, it was a little bit railroady. He'd already explained he wasn't enjoying his character.
Yes, yeah.
That it was too overpowered,
Yeah.
which it was, and that basically it, in the sense of it was a great character, it was fun, but he could come in, shoot up anything,
Yeah.
and would take out chunks of damage, and then there wouldn't be much left for anyone else to do. So he first said, I'm not enjoying the fact that I feel like everything is too easy for my character.
Yeah.
I was like, wonderful.
Yeah.
You've acknowledged that yourself. And then second is like, And then because of that, I feel like I'm taking a bit away from everyone else to get involved. And I was like, cool, fine. So it wasn't a complete, let's, completely rewrite the character.
Yeah.
It was like, how can we work this? I went, cool, we'll kill you. And we'll resurrect you. And that's how the change in your character can happen. So we can alter your stats and whatnot. I guess some DMs would be like, well, no, once you've made your character, you've made your character. My personal opinion is, it's a game for everyone to enjoy. So if someone's come up with a problem, try and find that solution. Also, we didn't create a whole new character.
No.
We stuck with the base of that character and just reworked it.
Amended.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it did change his class because it was part of the thing. And I went, but these are going to be the conditions.
Yeah.
Because, we need to let it have an effect on the storyline in some way, not just, you've randomly come back as...
And you feel weaker.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. But to put it in perspective, like, we would go into battle and there's quite a large number of us. I think there was, 6 of us again. He would normally go first.
Yeah.
And by the time I would normally go last because I'm terrible at rolling. Anyone who's ever played with me, it's awful.
Yeah.
I can't roll dice, apparently. And so by the time it got to me, either I was killing it or I was watching it be killed however many people ago. So I wasn't doing any... There was no fighting that was occurring for my character.
Because I think Sam went to try and heal him.
Yeah.
And I was like, it didn't work. But also there's a few reasons. Like you said, the double nat 1 situation.
Yeah.
Also, if a creature attacks a person who is already in death saves, that's an automatic...
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Negative.
Yeah.
Oh, negative. I thought you were about to say automatic death.
Not death.
If
No.
it did 2 damage, you did.
That's an automatic bad roll.
Yeah.
Because you've just been attacked and you're already dying, so...
You're effectively prone on the floor.
Yeah.
That's not an awful lot.
That's fair.
Oh, the person came and stabbed the body. Yeah, but they're still alright because they're already... No! No, they took more out of them. Hurry up!
In death saves, this is just a question that popped into my mind, it's nothing to do with session 0 or anything, but in death saves, would they have advantage on hitting you because prone?
No. Well, I guess technically you should, but they're already dead.
Yeah, you don't want to milk it more.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair.
So they get... Basically, you can't defend yourself, so they're already attacking you anyway.
I'd have to look into that, because they are technically prone in that sense.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But there's been times where both of our characters actually, at some point during the campaign, have been very close, or if not in death saves, and it's a case of being
Have you?
Yeah, the thing exploded and needed Trig to save me. I was in death saves for that last bit. Thing.
Yes.
And I was like, guys, we need to... I'm not ready to let this one
Wrap
go.
this up.
Yeah.
Come on!
Just begun.
Yeah.
So there is, and it was just like, I already knew that, like, as soon as we reached death saves, I'm not being involved, thank God, because my rolls are awful. Dead straight away. But, like, it was just a case of being like, right, guys?
So kind of like... Back to the point of the session 0.
Side quest, sorry.
No.
Side quest. I
It's
like
chat
that.
anyway.
Side quest.
But like to the point of it, like a structure for me of a session 0, sort out some rules and some basic understanding. So when, especially if you have new players or someone who just hasn't played with you before, they come into the game already knowing what's expected.
Yep.
It's like this. If I had any magical users come in for the first time, I'd be like, read up on your stuff.
Yes.
DMs put a lot of effort in, and it was probably my only sort of bugbear is I get sometimes you don't understand things, especially when you are a new player. That's fine. Chat to the DM.
Yes.
Like, I would help any of you guys if you just went, I don't get this. That's fine. If you turn up to the session and get partway through and just go, oh, I didn't realise that, I'm kind of there like, why? Like, did you not read?
Session, did you not read up on it for this session?
Yeah. I just think read up because it helps you out as a player,
Yeah.
and then it helps the DM help you. And if you go, oh, I've got this, but I still don't get it, I don't mind in the session going, right, it works like this, or this, or even if they come at the beginning of the session and go, look, we leveled up, I could pick from these set spells, but I don't understand the different mechanics of them. I will so happily go, right, this one does this one does that, this one does that. And I know they've got descriptions anyway, but that doesn't always mean it translates to each person. No. And some of the descriptions are confusing. Also, same with feats.
Yes.
At level 4, you
feats,
can pick
yeah.
ability scores or a feat. And you might go through all the feats and gone, well, I like the sound of these 3, but I kind of don't get what the bonuses actually do for my character.
Yeah.
So then I'll happily do that. Don't do that mid-game.
No.
Be
No,
like,
not
I actually want to use a feat, but I haven't picked the actual one I want.
Yeah.
I can't help you.
Because that's going to take about 20 minutes to explain.
Yeah, maybe. And I also don't want someone to feel rushed.
No.
Like at the beginning of the game, I could quite happily go, okay, don't worry about the feat today.
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
we'll move past that. But this is the explanation. Don't stress. Mid-game is a bit of a... Right, we're now having to slow down a little bit.
Yeah.
It just keeps the game moving forward if everyone reads up on their stuff, and that doesn't mean you have to be a fountain of knowledge, because there's a lot in D&D, especially if you're a magic user.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No one knows all those spells. I do pretty well at it.
Yeah.
In the first earlier campaigns that I ever did, whenever it came to a magic spell, even Tyler and Garen would be like, how does it work? And I'd be like, oh yeah, Thunderwave just does this. And they're like, okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Because I was so like, yes. But yeah, so just brush up on your stuff, make it easier. The DM will explain to you their rules and their guidelines, and if you don't agree with something, that is the time to go, okay, why does it work like that?
Yep.
Could we consider something else? Or, I don't think that's a fun mechanic for a game situation.
Yeah.
And that's a discussion, and that's a great time to have a discussion, especially if, the DM knows 100% what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
I put my hand up. I don't.
But you're
I
willing
make
to-
stuff up all the time.
Exactly. You're
That's a
willing to
DM's
ad-lib with
prerogative,
the
isn't it?
Yeah.
I spent 10 minutes organising this session, let's see what happens.
But like, even with rules and stuff like that, I'll get to a point and go, no, for that situation, that's not how it works for me.
Yeah.
Because you will have rules that change within the time. And yes, in the game, you could have a player go, so why is that like that?
Mm-hmm.
And in that moment, I'll go, well, because of these, different situations being involved, I don't think that rule would work the way it normally would do.
Yeah.
And most of the time, people are like, no, fair point.
Yeah.
It was like the, the campaign you joined in. I altered something because we were in space.
Yes. Yeah.
The whole thing happened in space.
Yes.
So I took gravity into account.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Because to me that seemed natural, especially when you were flying about. Now each ship or planet that you're on had its own sort of air pocket, so you were fine in that pocket, but once you went out, gravity existed. So certain things, I think someone threw something out, and I was like, well, gravity comes into play, so it wouldn't work as simple as that.
Yeah.
I wasn't changing it completely, but I just thought, well, it adds a slight different dynamic.
Yeah.
And they went, oh, so why in that moment? And I was like, oh, this. Yeah, sure, no problem.
But it's something that you have to mention in
Yeah.
session 0 because,
Yeah.
it's space. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, but every campaign is different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's one of the massive homebrew rules is rule of cool. Where do we sit
Yeah.
on rule of cool?
What is rule of cool? Sorry, I just.
Rule of cool is if the DM likes it, he's going to give you a shot at it. So in the
Yeah.
one shot that I hosted that you can come to,
Yeah.
Because you
Those-
couldn't be bothered.
That's exactly the reason. And nothing to do with personal conflict.
Flint on the Hill's house. Jordan has a flock of ravens, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And
Yes,
he
yeah.
said, "Can I?"
That flock of ravens.
Everything is the flock of ravens with Jordan. He said,
Oh.
"Can I send my ravens through one window and into another to distract the BBEG?" And I said, "Yeah, that's actually
Yeah.
a really good idea. I'm going to give you advantage to Kit because he's
Yeah.
not going to be distracted by the ravens. You get advantage on your attacks.
Yeah.
That's a great idea."
Okay.
It's if the DM likes it, he can manipulate, or they can manipulate
Yeah.
the rules.
Yeah.
So he was like, "That's actually sick.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do something that affects the environment."
Yeah.
I think that's a really good home rule that everyone should play with because it encourages creativity.
Yeah. Like, you guys come out with some interesting methods when you're fighting, when you're doing
He
things.
said, "Interesting, not good."
Yeah, no, I noted that. Thank you.
No, because not every idea is a great idea, let's be honest.
Oh, it
Yeah.
was
Oh, yeah,
in
no.
the Vision Quest one where we faced off against our enemies.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
they were, like, I'm assuming they had 1 HP and just had to hit them. Because I had a fake mirror shard, and I said, can I use it like a dagger and use it as 1d4 damage? And you're like, yes.
Well, yeah.
That's a good
Because you got a broken shard of glass.
Yeah.
In real life, you can shank someone with glass.
You can, indeed.
So, Hattie knows.
Busted.
Don't cross Hattie on the street.
Guys, you're making me out to seem like some sort of mafia boss that only has time to... Actually, no. I'm going to stop.
But yeah.
Sorry, Mum.
Let's face it, you're in a room, let's say you're tied up, you know, like I did with the others, but like you've been kidnapped
And
or
you're
you've been
naked,
bound,
or just Jordan.
or you're in jail or something, and you've had your weapons taken off of you. But like, if you've had your weapons taken off of you, you need to improvise.
Yes.
So you're going to use what you can find.
Yeah.
You could have chains wrapped around you, and okay, you might be able to snap one to get yourself free, but you could use that chain as some sort of like slapping device thing. You like,
I'll take 4d4 slapping damage. Yes.
Yeah, but like we were saying first session about the monk with the darts, and you were like, oh yeah, when you're at the pub, and I was like, weaponize that. They're not going to take it because it's not a weapon.
Darts and D&D are the
and it's still pointy, isn't it? Just
It's still pointy, in it.
So I've always got a set of darts on me into the board. But yeah.
But it's the same with like, can we have a crowbar? Yes, we can. Like that's also a weapon if we choose
bludgeoning damage
or
slashing damage as you use it.
Yeah.
So today's map is brought to you by Beg, Borrow and Steal Productions. They are 4 artists who have joined forces to create high quality, low stress maps for every occasion.
I enjoy low stress.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stress in my life. You know what I need? Low stress map.
An expert of lighting, vibrant colour, beautiful scenes, strategic forethought and historic realism. Each map, when you sign up to their Patreon, they actually have a bit of a backstory to go with it. This one was about a necromancer.
That doesn't sound stressful.
Yeah. Their tiers on Patreon range from £2, £3.50, £6 and £7, so really affordable.
That's really good prices.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's over 170 maps.
Oh my god.
And you're getting 4 different creators. You can find them on Facebook, BBS Productions WA, Twitter, BBSP Maps, Patreon, Beg, Borrow and Steal Productions.
Big finish!
Yeah.
You're welcome.
On the subject of making weaponizing random things, something to discuss in a session 0 is how does the group like to play? Would they prefer puzzles? Would they prefer action and improvised weapons? Or would they heavily RPing?
Yeah.
Because, again, bringing up the fact that we're creatives, we don't mind a bit of RPing. We don't, it's fine.
Yeah.
We're very comfortable with that, but some people who aren't extroverted might not want to be forced into a situation where they have to play out a scene.
Yeah.
So that's something to bring up to the group.
Yeah. Also, you just get players who literally just want to slash and smash.
Yeah.
Murder hobos.
Yeah. Yeah. And everyone's playstyle is different. If you want a slash and smash sort of situation, I guess a dungeon crawl is better suited to you.
Yep.
And that can be a massive 50-room dungeon that
Yeah.
expands over all those different sessions of, you know, you might only get 1 to 3 rooms done in a session, depending on what the rooms are like. And that doesn't mean all of them have to be fighting.
No.
But clearly quite a lot of them would be.
Yeah.
And in a dungeon, I don't think you're going to be role-playing as much, apart from maybe with each other if, like, you're presented with a puzzle and you need to work together.
Yeah. I mean, but there was, in the session 0 that M hosted for me, Jordan and Callum, because we had never played before,
Oh, yeah.
there was a couple of puzzles, but I actually stopped conversation at the table, because we all looked at this puzzle where I had to be like, organised skulls.
Yeah.
It actually stopped conversation at the table.
Oh my goodness.
It, like, we were all going just staring at it. And I was like, I don't think we're a puzzle group because we are lively and boisterous and we like to talk and so puzzles actually stop the gameplay.
But also, the time of day that we're playing is normally after a full day of work anyway.
Yeah.
We're using this time to relax and being dyslexic myself, doing puzzles is not the way I'm going to be doing it that way. Like,
meanwhile, I love crosswords. I do crosswords in my spare time. So the puzzle M gave us, I actually figured out a second solution to it. I was like, I've done it. And looked at it and went, no, you haven't. I was like, no, it's because this. And he was like, oh, you have found a second solution to one that's not in the book, because my brain is great
Yeah,
at puzzles.
not even the book had that as an answer. They just had like one answer, and I looked at it and went, "No, he has got it."
Yeah.
Basically reversed it.
Yeah.
And I was looking at it going, "Well, yeah, like of course you can accept that. It's that answer just in
Yeah,
a
slightly different.
different."
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a way to kind
Yeah.
of like, between the two of us, having some of there's an awful lot of number or what they call like mythical puzzles that you
Yeah.
put in yours. I'm sorry, riddle as well. Puzzles
Yeah,
that you put in
Riddles,
yours.
yeah.
Where like it's beautiful and we're like, this is amazing. And then you get all of us in a room and we're like, we don't actually know what we're doing. And it takes forever because
Yeah.
we don't know what all, and there's a whole...
But that's also the point. You might
Yeah.
say it takes forever, but the whole point of a puzzle or a riddle is to actually slow you down for a bit and go, "Oh, we've got to think about this."
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's at the kind of level
Yeah.
where it's not stopping conversation because
No.
we are all like, oh, what if we try this? What if we try that?
Yeah.
What if we do? And you're always on hand to be like, do you have any questions before
Yeah.
you do
Yeah.
anything dumb? Like,
Yeah.
I think riddles are better for RPing than puzzles.
Yes.
Because puzzles, when you're just looking at a bit of paper, yeah, like I said, stop the conversation. But
Yeah.
riddles are like, okay,
Yeah.
let's all go through this again,
Yeah.
figure out what we've gone wrong as. Turns out
Yeah.
we were right.
yeah.
M.
I gave it to you in the end.
It's our group's happy medium.
Yeah.
It's where we
Yeah.
fit. And we didn't come to that straight away because
Yeah.
we all tried different puzzles, be it in different games or your session 0.
Yeah.
But we found that as our happy medium. Whereas if you're going into a brand new game at a paid table, the DM hasn't got time to be like, who is going to fit into what
Yeah.
bracket? It's
Yeah.
going to be a case of, can you do puzzles?
Yeah.
Do you like Sudoku? No. Then maybe it's not. That's
And we're not going to
what-
do this one.
We're not going to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like for me, I did it for the sense of first time playing. I was trying to capture everything that I possibly could that D&D has to offer, and go, okay, a puzzle, a section on skill checks and whatnot,
Yeah.
and a
There was
fight.
a stealth bit. There was
Yeah.
fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
And a BBEG at the end of
Yeah.
that little session, and a reason to be going there.
Yeah.
So you had a chance to role play with the character who gave you the mission that needed it, and then the three of you were like, "Oh, I don't trust you because I've never met you before."
Yeah.
So that open
And Jordan
conversation.
stabbed me, but... or did I stab Jordan?
No, I
In
think
game,
you
not in real
both.
life.
I was going to say, please clarify.
I think you both hit each other.
Now do it again.
Yeah.
Oh,
they
Lord,
rolled
again.
that. They rolled that
Lord.
ones.
Oh, okay.
They roll, yeah. To clarify, they rolled nat ones on attacks when they were very close to each other.
Okay.
So they missed, and I
Hit
think
each
one
other.
sliced into one's ankle.
Yeah,
and
that's right, yeah.
One went into the other's foot.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, the session 0 you organised for us because you knew us, you could be a little bit more rounded in what you gave us to figure out how we play.
Yeah.
But yeah, a paid DM does not have the time to
No.
give you a rounded. So
No.
session 0 might be a little bit... I don't want to say rushed for a paid DM, but they need to quickly analyse how they're going to run a session.
Yeah.
They have 3 hours.
I mean,
Yeah.
also, in my opinion, because I don't do it professionally, I've got some friends who do.
Yeah.
If you're being paid to, I think naturally they would take the time to go, okay, what sort of things do you enjoy? What sort of thing am I working with? Before they start the main session. Even if it's a quick, if I had puzzles and whatnot, because the group might go, yeah, love a puzzle. Then you present the puzzle and go, that's not a puzzle I was expecting.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you said, you enjoy crosswords and stuff like that. I think that's why the one puzzle, well, it wasn't a crossword, but it was all word related. The tiles on the floor that
Yes.
spelt out different schools of magic.
Yeah.
And you could only walk on those tiles to get to the other side.
That's
Now, it was
right.
it was a bit harsh of me because I went, oh yeah, it's their first time playing. They probably don't know the schools of magic. But you had a ranger and a wizard. I was like, well, you're gonna learn.
And
Yeah.
I was also there.
Oh yeah, and the rogue. But as in terms of who used magic at that level,
Yeah.
is where I was hinting at it. You didn't have magic yet, trickster. But
Oh dear.
I was trying to make it a way of helping them learn
Yeah.
before also going in. So then Callum was like, one of you spotted it and just went, well, I see necromancy down on there. And then someone was like, okay, well, that's a type of magic. And I was like, right track.
Yeah.
Now
Yeah.
you've got to think of what the others could be.
Yeah.
And then when I was looking at it, obviously I got that you guys were a bit stuck. And I was like, look at your spells that you had. That was the only sort of hint I gave you. And you didn't have them all, because obviously, like level 1 or 2, I think I started you guys on, you would only have X amount, but you started to see the different schools of magic. So, okay, and then you figured out a few others of what they would be classed as, so you were fine, and you got across. You figured it out.
Well done.
Good brain.
Yeah.
I don't think I helped on that one.
It was quite a while back.
Yeah, but you have time to kind of sit with all of us, whereas obviously if you're going in for a paid DM, they have to be very succinct in the questions they ask and the questions you ask them. So they'll probably ask you to come with a character in mind or a character sheet, and then it gives you the opportunity to then ask, well, how do I do this? Are these spells correct? Like, how are we doing HP, health, or whatever?
Yeah.
And it gives you the opportunity.
Which is a perfect point. How are we doing HP?
Yeah.
So in, with the mechanics of D&D, there's a few ways. If you're doing D&D Beyond, you can click it on manual.
Yeah.
So every time you level up, it rolls for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I believe is what you're
I
all
think
set
we're
to
doing.
now, and I
Yeah.
don't like it.
Oh,
and
okay.
that's why I keep saying, oh, we'll roll a health next week, and then everyone's like, oh, the app's already done it, and now I've clicked Y. It's because you're all set to manual. So I'm going to ask you all to change
that's
that.
fair.
So that'll be a talk. Again, that's a talk pre-session today. Then we're after this session, everyone make sure that you're... Yeah.
We went from level 1 to 3, and at first it was easy, and then I was like, oh yeah, because I kept saying it, oh, we'll roll, and then everyone's like, oh, my health's already done, and I was like, oh, okay, sorted. Because I always said the rule, because this is what I do as a rule, is you can roll your HP with whatever, D dice your class is.
Yes. Yeah.
So let's say Druid is a D8.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And Wizard and Sorcerer is a D6.
Yes. Yeah.
Roll what you want for your level. So it would be that plus your Constitution modifier to give you overall. If you don't like the score that you rolled, so let's say it was the D8 and you got a 3.
Yeah.
Plus, let's say it was a 2. That's a 5 overall.
Yeah.
Out of a possible 10.
Yeah.
You might go, I want to re-roll this. So the rule I do is you can re-roll it once.
Yes. Yeah.
If that score is lower than your original score that you just rolled, you still have to take it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that is your gamble. But usually, if you've had a lesser roll, what's the chances of you getting a lesser roll? It has happened. I think it was me. I rolled a 3, and I was like, yeah, and then I rolled a 1.
I'll be well pissed if we had leveled up and done all that work. I'm like, I got 2 elf. Brilliant, cool.
Yeah.
But
I
then
don't feel powerful.
But that's the point of it. Like, you never know what's going to happen, and you got your bonus like spells or abilities or features or whatnot. So it's like a game. You level up. Sometimes some things increase, and other things not as much.
Yeah.
So, on the subject of dice rolling, one of the notes I have in my handy-dandy notebook here is another homebrew rule that I figure paid DMs might use to speed up the game, initiative rolling. I heard of a homebrew rule where everyone rolls initiative at the start of the session, and that is it. So if Hattie got a 14 and you got a 15 and I got a 2, it would always go Hattie, Will.
Yeah.
But if I were to initiate the fight, I would be at the top, and then it would go.
Yeah.
I explained that very badly. I'm not good with words.
No, I get that. That's quite a clever rule, actually, because it does save a bit of time.
Yeah.
Because
Especially
we
if
don't
you've got
do that.
Big groups.
Yeah.
If you're playing with an awful lot of players,
Yeah.
rolling initiative, you, as a DM, we've seen you many times go roll initiative and then have to go around the room making sure and going with like what you've rolled versus what you've rolled plus initiative if it's the same or the whole thing. Which if you're playing with 6, 7 plus people, it takes forever.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that is amazing.
Just easier to do it all at the start, make a list, and then if one person in the middle of the list starts, it just goes down from there and then goes back to the top. I think it's a great rule for a bigger group.
Yes.
Yeah, especially.
Any more
I
than
might have to consider it.
any
but
more
then it
than
means
6,
that-
then you should do that for sure.
Yeah, but then it means that for that session, because I roll badly, I'm going to be the end. I'm not complaining.
Yeah.
But I'm
But then you initiate the fight and you go first.
Okay.
So I think for paid DM session 0, that'll be a great thing just to speed up the session.
Yeah.
Because you only have one
Yeah.
day. one afternoon.
Also, that might be a thing of like talking to the group about it, because
Yeah.
I get some people who be like, but I like to roll it to see what happens, because
Yeah.
it feels natural to find out what your reaction in that scenario would be.
Yeah.
So then it's fair. So it's definitely worth a discussion, and it's really not a bad rule.
No. Also, there are some fights where there have been quite a few fights actually where a lot of us have not joined in, or one or two of us have stayed out until nearing the end, or haven't joined.
Oh, you just walked away
haven't
from the
joined
fight.
in at all.
Friends, Kevin, he was heading off on a ship for a few weeks. He was like, oh, I'll play D&D. I might never get to play D&D again.
Yeah.
Wait, no, it's just not. Oh wait, no, this is the one where he went away for months. He's on the ship now. Me and was it Callum?
Yeah.
Me and Callum fought and Hattie just walked away with the puzzle.
Yeah, pretty much.
We're like, Hattie,
Hey,
please.
You got it done.
Yeah, exactly. I thought, to be honest, our friend started off as our friend and then turned on us. So
radically.
It was a classic case of like roll initiative. No, we all had to roll initiative to escape. Because he just went into, he was playing a Goliath barbarian.
Yes.
And he went straight into a rage, and we all went, oh no, and ran behind a statue.
Yeah.
And then it was a case of, well, we're going to have to, he rounded on Callum first.
You did?
And I went, no, I'm going to disengage, I'm going to pick up or write down or whatever, and,
hide in the forest.
and go into the furthest point away that he won't be able to get me, and I'm going to hide in the woods. And watch. No, in fact, I didn't even watch the fight. I came back just as Callum beheads him, and I was like,
and I was in death saves.
You were in death saves.
Yep.
So I was like, guys, I'll leave you alone for 5 minutes. What the hell?
It's another rule that we play in our campaigns. M's rule is if you note taking. Is the if you don't write it down and you can't remember it, your character can't remember it.
Yes.
Someone's got to write it down.
I was going to say, I loved when, because our session 0 happened probably in your living room over a takeaway, and I was like, everyone's always like, every time I see one, everyone's writing stuff. What is the concept of it? And you were like, that is your character's brain.
Yeah.
If you haven't written it down and you can't remember, your character's not going to remember, and I'm not going to say to you. And I was like, okay.
Going back to what we were literally just talking about you walking away with the puzzle while me and Callum fought Kevin, I wrote down the name wrong in my book. So I had the answer, but I misspelt it.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, it can't be that. So, but that's what LaFaris thought the name was, because that's what I remembered.
But there was a lot of that in the woods.
Oh, the name to the puzzle.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of that in the woods where you were
Can't
fighting.
be bothered to read my survival guide.
No, but that was what I spoke to you about.
Yeah.
Where I was like, and again, this is such a session 0 thing where it's kind of like, if you're given extra material, at the DM's discretion, are you able to then look at it, refer back to it, or is it something that you're going to have to know?
I think you actually brought up, I'm dyslexic, please can I flick through the thing?
It was literally that. You were like, have you got it? And I was like, I've spelt it wrong, and I know I've spelt it wrong, but I can't for the life of me spell it correctly. Can I pull up, like, I know what the answer should be, can I pull up the document you sent?
Yeah.
Because it was one of those, read it before the session, don't spend the whole session reading.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And then I literally was just like, is it this? And you're like, yeah, it is. It's wonderful.
Yeah, because essentially, to anyone listening, I made them like a survival guide of the world that they're in. So it had like the pantheon of gods. It had the relationships between
the nations.
And how the kingdom split into 3 and all that sort of backstory, and how that's affected life today. So, that is, to me, something you would all be aware of.
Yes.
Because it's your history. And the world is still quite young. It's only something like, I'm thinking off the top of my head now, 700 something years old. And that only happened 100 or so years ago. So it's still all quite recent in that sense. So I wouldn't go, no, if you can't remember something like an 8-page document, I'm going to crucify you over it. Absolutely not.
Having said that, it would make sense for my character who has grown up in a cave not to know how to spell things. So I felt right at home being I don't know how to spell this.
There is that. But also, you have grown up, and yes, okay, you grew up in a cave and whatnot, but you've also had a number of years as your character exploring around, so you would have learned stuff at some point.
Yeah,
so you would have learnt about gods and, because the local libraries and the temples probably would have been your only shelter at that point.
Pretty
when
much.
you think of it, to
But again, always something to bring up is like, if there's extra reading, is this something that is on the table with us, or is this something that we need to know before going into the session? Because I can imagine, much the same as listening to a podcast, if everyone is just Googling on the web and there's not an awful lot of interaction, the same can be said for a D&D campaign, whereas if everyone is looking at a puzzle or reading an 8-page document, kind of stops the production completely. And that's something you don't want when you only have a limited amount of time.
Well, I think it's about time to wrap up, guys, for the Session 0 episode.
We did it. We did it!
There's so many technical issues in the first 2 episodes.
The only thing I'd probably touch on, just before we leave, part of a Session 0, at least for me, is have an explore of the character.
Yes.
So like, you've explored all the mechanics, and the DM should hopefully guide you through what those mechanics are, what the rules are, and that you have some sort of agreement with what you're happy with and all that. But also I use Session 0s to allow that person to figure out how their character got from A to B from what they've written in their backstory.
Yes.
Like what I did for you when you joined. It's just a simple, easy way. It allows them to explore their character properly for the first time. So they're not coming into a session of, I don't know how to be my character. Because I say, you can find, some people put voices on, some people don't. Your mannerisms, you might find that in that Session 0 just from having a quick little, could be a 30-minute thing of just you and the DM, him guiding you through a little scenario, and you just making the decisions. That gets you to explore rolling for the first time. Just some simple ways of, okay, I'm going to make this decision. So I've walked into the forest and I found a animal that looks injured, and I'd like to go check on it. Okay, that's a animal handling check to make sure that you're safe enough to get there, and also there's a medicine check to help it. Some quick, easy steps.
Scenarios. This is
It doesn't need to be.
There's loads of YouTube videos on that, like D&D scenarios for you to react to and everything.
But there's no right way or wrong way to do a Session 0. You can either do it as a one-shot, as a conversation, or as a mini role play.
A group, meet the characters.
Have it be like you go to a pub with your friends, but you have to go wearing something of your character, and that's going to be the topic of conversation. You're going to speak about your lives, obviously, because it's catch up with friends, but that's why you're there.
So when I did the Spelljammers one, and I did an individual Session 0 with all of them, 2 of them had their own separate ones, and then where we were taking their little backstory arc, they met each other on the way. But by that point, by the end of all the Session 0s plus the little extra one for those 2 to meet each other, they all ended up in the tavern that the campaign started in. So the Spelljammers tell you, this is where your players start. And I was like, okay, great, but I want them all to have a reason why they're there. So that's what I did. So most of them had already played before, so that made it easier. But quick cover of mechanics and what might be different. And then, why did your character get to this tavern? What was their goal? What was their purpose in that sense? So then you've already thought about a few things before going into the actual session, and you have more of a built character, which I don't think hurts.
Which I think is actually a great way to... because they're a little baseline. I think, there is no correct way to do a Session 0, but I hope we've given some very good insight to how it could possibly run.
We've definitely given a lot of waffle, so...
so much waffle! You're welcome, Internet!
So many side quests.
Speaking of Internet, where can people find us? Because we forgot to do it for the first 2 episodes!
You can find us on the BBEG Podcast on Instagram.
And Twitter, I think it's the BBEG Podcast.
And the same for Spotify, I do believe, which is where the majority of this, the audio listeners, can find us if you're not up for the visuals, which it's fine.
And for the audio, YouTube.
For the visual listeners, as we coined it at the start of this episode, it is youtube.com/ at the BBG. I'm ill.
He's doing well. He's doing well.
That was the first cough I've done.
Instagram, Twitter, Spotify, and YouTube. They're our main 4 at the moment.
Yes, and if you do want to email it in, it is the BBG. Why?
The BBEG.
Someone else take it.
Podcast @gmail.com.
All the links are on all of our socials as well, so if you get lost, come find us.
And they'll be in the description, bio, below, whatever it's classed
Well,
as.
the thing.
Yeah.
That was so concise. We nailed it.
That ending wasn't that one.
Death saves each and every one of us, specifically you.
Oof.